The Lackawanna County Land Bank finds its origin in state law. I was able to vote for the legislation in 2012. It actually is part of an ongoing blight task force. Both the Senate and the House have membership on a blight task force that has ongoing engagement on issues surrounding blight. This particular piece of legislation emanated as a recommendation from that task force. A House bill came over, I believe unanimously out of the House and then probably unanimously out of the Senate, in order to establish an entity locally that could repurpose blighted property, take property that was run down, raise it, take property that's involved in tax delinquency, tangle titles, anything that would impede the possible transfer or reuse of that property. You need some sort of institutional arrangement locally to address that problem in a community. And if you have a neighbor who's got a house next door that's been blighted for years and the municipality can't seem to get there to provide them relief, the land bank is the relief. It's surgical in nature because blight could be a cancer on a community. First it's one window's broken, next thing you know it's two windows broken, next thing you know it's a fire, next thing you know it's the grass, it's the rodents, it's everything else that imposes such trouble on a neighborhood. And I would hope that local government officials come to understand the value of the land bank's work in what it can do relative to dealing with troubled properties and blighted properties in their community. The land bank is set up as a governing board, again with both city and county representation. You have realtors, other professionals that serve on that board, but you also have an advisory board that includes NeighborWorks and others who are really involved in the community development aspects and the nonprofit aspects of housing and community development. So that kind of dialogue goes on in the governance of the land bank, which I think is really healthy. I think it's really important to keep in mind at the origin of the land bank, you had a governance structure. But what the land bank had to achieve in order to be effective in its work is an agreement with the taxing authorities. And in the case of the City of Scranton, it had to be an agreement between the City of Scranton, the school district, and the county, the three taxing authorities that overlay on that municipality. And having those taxing authorities agree that under the proper circumstances, with proper deliberation, they could forgive tax liens and the entanglements that those tax liens create relative to the transfer of property. That's a big deal when the taxing authorities realize the value of relieving a lien that may never be satisfied in order to put the property back into the land bank's hand in order for it to be repurposed and hopefully to be producing taxes again. And the land bank has been successful. The fact of the matter is it has acquired property and repurposed property, added them back to the tax rolls. It's worked to demolish really blighted property in order to raise that blight, get rid of the blighted improvements, and create the opportunity for that property to be repurposed, whether by a nonprofit or by a private concern or by a municipality. What I'm really proud of is the land bank in Lackawanna County is probably a model for the state. They are extraordinarily effective in carrying out their mission. And one of the things that I recall at the origin of the establishment of the land bank is that it was a true negotiation and collaboration and agreement between the City of Scranton and the County of Lackawanna as to its governance and as to its conduct. So I just really am delighted with the way the plan has unfolded. Really appreciate the leadership that's made it so successful. Would really encourage other communities across Lackawanna County to take a close look at jumping on board. Every community has at least one problem with blight. There's nobody that's immune from it. So we have finally created an arrangement, an agency that's well governed, and it is well focused on trying to deal with those very difficult circumstances of blight in our community.